Now on ESPN Plus from the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Number 5 Baylor taking on OU. Baylor coming off a win Tuesday night at West Virginia. L.J. Cryer, 5 threes, a career-high 25 points. That same night, Oklahoma suffered a heartbreaker to Kansas, though. Jordan Goldwire, another solid game. He had 15 points, 4 assists against the Jayhawks. Happy Saturday. Great to have you with us, along with former NBA player and general manager Lance Blanks. I'm Mark Neely. Let's not bury the lead. Yes, James Akinjo is back. He's healthy. He's starting for Baylor.
Good work, buddy. Yes, Akinjo is back. And Baylor needs his points, but more importantly, Mark, they need his confidence. This team is struggling a little bit. There are things going on and questions being asked in Waco. His leadership will be needed. And then on the other side, Groves. Tanner Groves has disappeared ever since Texas really smacked him in the mouth a little bit 2 or 3 games ago. He'll be coming back, and they need to get him going early. He's only made about 7 field goals in the last 2 games, only 1 in the Texas game before those 2. And so they will need him. They've gotten close, but I think Groves, is the X factor.
These teams played on January 4th when Baylor was number 1 in the nation. Baylor an 84-74 win in Waco. And it is OU that has the game's first possession this afternoon.
You'll see a lot of switching with these 2 ball clubs, particularly on the perimeter.
Harkless shoots a 3 and a rebound for Kendall Brown. Harkless is another one that OU needs to get going today.
Yeah, and I said Groves is an X factor. That used to not be the case because he was so consistent up until the last 3 games. The former X factor was Harkless. He plays well. They typically play well offensively.
Ball deflected off Hill, it appeared, but right back to Meyer. Shot clock slips under 10. Flo Thamba. Brown fakes the shot. So Meyer takes a 3. Deflected into the arms of Goldwire. Pass up ahead for Harkless. He'll slow it down.
A good job by Goldwire there, throwing ahead and getting the ball up quickly. Even if you don't score, it just gives you more time.
Groves trying to get to the rim. Thamba there defensively, and it's out of bounds off OU.
Not the greatest shot by Groves there early, Mark, but I like it because he's got to get himself going. Easy baskets is one of the ways to do it. Thamba's defense was just a little bit better than the offense.
So here is Akinjo, who bruised his tailbone in the game against Texas Tech. Really played hurt against Oklahoma State. There's Thamba with a flush. A little feed from Akinjo to start the scoring.
Yeah, they've got a 1 takeaway passing lanes. Groves did that stepping out. It's almost like a soft trap action, but you got to pick up the big who rolls to the basket. On the backside, there was no help.
Goldwire tried to bank it in. Hill fouled by Meyer after the rebound.
The defense there. Groves strings it out. Good job by Kinju, just picking it up and looking. But those 2 guys there, Gibson and Groves, you've got to close that space. You can't give a clean look to a guard as good as Akinjo.
Meyer, then he just makes the steal, flips it out, finds Akinjo, who's driving, lost the handle, as Harkless may have got a hand on that.
Well, excellent defense by Harkless. You've got to close that space if you're Akinjo. You let the defense have the angle to close that off. Good recovery there.
Gibson trying to split the 2 defenders. Brown tied him up, though. And the possession arrow will give it to Baylor.
Oh, just too much size.
Well, Scott Drew's team back in the win column at West Virginia. They had lost back-to-back home games, and the sky was falling in Waco, which was pretty insane because this team is 44-4 in their last 48 games.
I mean, it is crazy. Great pass.
They forgot about Matthew Meyer. He was all alone, and Flagler found him.
Boy, the action's a little too quick to get into what I want to get into, Mark, but let's come back to
We will.
The little seismic rumors that we're hearing about Waco right now.
Akinjo with his quick hands creates a steal. Here comes the Bears once again.
Baylor doing a great job here early, playing passing lanes. How about Hill staying down on Akinjo and keeping him out of the paint?
Meyer. Hill was able to save it and get it to Goldwire. See if Gibson, yeah, he waits for Hill to get back into the play. Hill trying to get past Brown. Brown tried to punch it out from behind. An offensive foul. No basket. Akinjo, who already has an assist, now takes a charge.
Well, that's a great job by Akinjo. You're going downhill. Hill a little bit out of control. Baylor doing an exceptional job on the defensive end. Mark, you have to know that's where Baylor's really bread is butter, on that end of the floor. They do a good job of helping people as well as playing passing lanes.
Porter Moser's team trying to snap a 3-game losing skid. Lost to Kansas here on Tuesday. A heartbreaking shot from Christian Brown that wound up being the game winner for KU.
That's life in the Big 12.
Great defense by the Sooners. They keep possession. Meyer trying to put it up with 4 on the shot clock. Did graze the rim, but a rebound for Maywin. Got a cold Maywin now on the floor for OU. Goldwire trying to break the ankles, but they don't even get a shot up. Flagler coming back the other way. Akinjo shoots over Jacob Groves. Maywin rebound.
Yeah, they've been happy with Maywin, who's taking Jaguars minutes. Grew up in Australia. High-level JUCO player, one of the top 5 in the country. Dives, rolls, rebounds, and really does a good job of playing his role well and not getting outside of himself.
Sooners looking for their first points. Turn it over again. They're just 0 of 2 from the field. They already have 7 turnovers, Oklahoma does, and Brown finishing for Baylor.
Yeah, Brown is so good, particularly if he can get it going downhill. Arguably their best athlete, Brown is. Baylor finding ways to score, and the nice look and finish by Meyer. And then, of course, when Brown gets it going downhill, he's hard to stop. Baylor up early.
Well, it's a 6-0 start for Baylor. Oklahoma, 7 turnovers already in this game.
Well, they've got to do a better job of taking care of the ball, obviously. There you saw the help. But again, passing lanes, long arms. You've got to recognize that Baylor's not only going to pressure the ball, Mark, but they are going to close off passing lanes. Obviously, that's been the difference here early. 3 of those turnovers by Goldwire. He's the point guard. He's got to handle the ball. Ball security is extremely important when you're playing against a top-level team like a Baylor.
Which is something that OU head coach Porter Moser expressed to us, saying, hey, we got to limit turnovers. Well, they obviously have it early, but here's the good news. You're still only down 6-0, and there's 35 minutes of time left on the clock to recover from a really difficult first 4 minutes.
Yeah, but one of the places that shows up, and it can bite you later, you look at the field goals attempted. Baylor's attempted 8-2, Mark. They've only gotten off 2. The math just doesn't work against a team this good. For every 8 shots they get, you get 2.
So Brown completed the 3-point play coming out of the timeout. OU is struggling just to get a shot. Now the shot clock gets down to 5. A lot of dribbling from Goldwire, and that's deflected. Had Gibson and Cortez in the same vicinity, and they can't handle it. It goes out of bounds. There's turnover number 8.
Well, let's not forget, sure, there was a play that was called because that was a timeout after the free throws, and it looks like Oklahoma is more interested in running their action versus looking for opportunity. The sets are there to help the players, but you've also got to probe and be aggressive on that end of the floor, Mark. Too passive in my estimation here early.
There's a 3. Cryer, who has had a career high 25 at West Virginia. Offensive rebound. A Bonner's shot is off the heel. Another offensive rebound. Another try for Cryer. Good. 3rd chance. Timeout Oklahoma, and Porter Moser's got to try to stop the bleeding here. An early 10-0 lead for the Bears.
Absolutely discombobulated Oklahoma on the defensive end, not blocking people out, but also not attacking the ball off the glass. You'll see guys are in no man's land. Long shots are going to come off long typically. They're just scrambling the whole way. Look, guys, again, in no man's land, and you give them 3 opportunities at the basket. And sure enough, Mark, you know what's going to eventually happen. My math is right. Now we're looking at 11 opportunities at the basket to 2 for Oklahoma.
See the numbers offensively and defensively for a very solid Baylor team on both sides. But the 8 turnovers for OU in this game have been turned into 10 points for Baylor. So all the points that Baylor have scored are technically points off turnovers. Yeah,
it's just unfortunate to get this kind of start if you're Oklahoma. Both teams are desperate for a win for obvious reasons. They haven't been in normal form. You know, OU hasn't even gotten a shot to the rim since their second possession of the game. Again, 2 shots for the entire game, and over 5 minutes have gone off the clock. That's almost unheard of. This is an OU team that's played really well at home. A tough loss to KU. Their only other home loss was to Butler. And this is a little reminiscent for Groves of the UT game, where he didn't get a shot until midway through the second half. And some cheering finally from the OU fans, and a little sigh of relief. Harkless with the bucket to at least stop the bleeding momentarily for OU. Yeah, and that speaks to the point I was trying to make about players being aggressive. If you can't get anything out of your system, you've got to break it off and go look and hunt for a shot. Cortez falls on top or on the side of Flagler, and that's an obvious foul. And Cortez, a young player, the backup, got eyes in the back of his head, but on the defensive end of the floor, I think the smaller guards for Baylor are just a bit too athletic for him. He's got to play position basketball and space. So he has to make up the athletic difference with headiness on the defensive end. Catch and shoot. Chamwa Chachua up in the net. 10-point lead again. When Baylor just sustained themselves when Akinjo was on the bench. Thought that was also an opportunity missed for Oklahoma, because he's such a leader. These Baylor Bears, as he goes, they go. Well, the Baylor defense has gotten this shot clock down to 5 again. Harkless trying to come over the top to Tanner Groves, and you got bailed out a bit, because I think Meyer was going to come up with that anyway, but there was a hold. I mean, how about that up top, though, Mark? I mean, that was a switch. Look at Everyday Johnny grabbing there. But he switched out onto Harkless and sat down on him like a defensive back. I heard you mention football today with the Bills and Chiefs. He sat down like a DB, Deion Sanders or someone, on a guard. How about the bigs for Baylor and the way they move those feet? Chamwa Chachua got the foul, and there's Mayween with a flush for OU. Mayween again dives, catches, and can finish. Giving Baylor a little bit of their own medicine. They got caught not helping on the backside with the big dive into the basket. Cryer's pass. Goldwire got a hand on it. Really should have picked it off, but it's deflected to Mayween. Here comes Harkless trying to lob. Hill underneath in a crowd finds Gibson for a 3. It's been a really rough start for OU, but they're only down 5 with 12.5 minutes to play in the first half. Well, that has collateral impact, because now you have the crowd involved. You make a big 3. That's why they can be deadly for your team. Akinjo short with a 3. Let's see how the half-court offense responds this time for OU. Goldwire trying to get past Meyer. Just kind of floated it up there. I don't know if he was looking for a lob to Mayween, but it's out of bounds nonetheless. And there was a mismatch, because there was a switch with Mayween that did not look for him. But a great job, the pass by Goldwire. That's what he's got to do instead of turning the ball over. He's got to find people and make them better. We know Akinjo is going to look for shots. His counter for that has to be defending him very hard on this end, but making his teammates, Goldwire, making his teammates better on the offensive end of the floor, Mark. That's an open look for Brown. He's long with that.
Wow, very deep three, in and out from OJ Gibson.
Wow. Wow is right. The roof would have come off this place had he made that shot. Good job by Mayween down low.
Meyer.
How about the blocked out by Gibson on the much bigger Brown? Doesn't show up in the box score, but that's huge. Baylor doesn't get the second chance opportunity as they've done so many times so far in this game.
Harkless on the drive. Thamba was there defensively, but the putback. Mayween.
That's what you need. Talking to coaches today, they talked about how impressive Mayween has been stepping up for them in the absence of Flagler.
Well, a 7-0 run for OU has taken them from 10 points down to a one-possession game. All alone, Flagler, just a little bit long. Thamba with those long arms, pulls down the rebound, and then Harkless reached in. I thought for a moment maybe they were going to call a foul on Harkless, but it's a held ball, possession arrow to OU.
Oh, it looked incredibly violent, but that's what this game's all about. Oklahoma close, down 9-12.
Sports.com/buy tickets. We look to see you in Kansas City, March 10th through the 13th. Well, here in Norman, Baylor scored the game's first 10 points. Oklahoma turned it over 8 times on their first 10 possessions, but they have not turned it over their last 5 possessions. And guess what, Lance? They've gotten back in the game as a result.
Yeah, they have, and they've done it with personnel. I thought the basket that Harkless made kicked things off. It was a little aggressive, but I thought it was in context because they had so many hopeless possessions that ended up with turnovers, not even getting a shot up. But I contend, I'll go back to our open, Mark, you've got to get Groves in the game at some point. And in the game means at least getting attempts, hopefully some easy baskets for them. It's almost like playing 4-on-5 if you don't have your best player on offense engaged in the offense when it comes to scoring the ball.
Yeah, Tanner Groves does not have a shot attempt yet.
Nope.
Does not take the 3.
Yeah, he can make that. That just shows where his confidence is right now.
Harkless hits a much tougher shot than would have been the open 3, but that's a 2-pointer. It makes it a 1-point game.
Yeah, and coaches talk about going from good to great. They went from great to average because Groves passed the shot up, as you pointed out. And Groves has got to be comfortable taking that 3 because he can do that. He's about 35% from that distance.
A 10-0 run for Baylor to start the game. Now OU's on a 9-0 run. Cryer hounded by Jalen Hill. Kendall Brown, dribble penetration, and he got it off in time. They do want to check this. Doug Sermons, our lead official, immediately stopped play after that ball swished through the net. In real time, I thought he got it off in time.
Well, we saw how well he drove there, and we saw a moment ago when he drove the ball, Mark. You got to close out a little shorter on him. It did look like he got it off. Yeah, I think he did.
Just barely. You know, that's 5 points now for the freshman Kendall Brown, who scored in double figures in 11 of the 12 non-conference games for Baylor. He is not having a double-figure scoring game yet in conference play in the 6 games they've played. Maybe he's on pace to have his first Big 12 double-digit scoring game today.
In talking to some of the people who've seen a lot of him and around the team, he's kind of leveled off a little bit. He came in like a storm early in the season, perhaps even unexpected. People were talking about next year and him leaving and whatnot. And things have leveled off because in conference play, it's a lot different, as you know, defensively with what guys have to deal with, especially when you start playing them for the second time.
Yeah.
This would be an example of that. But that particular possession, if I'm guarding him, and Gibson kind of, I thought, came out too aggressively, Mark, he's only made 5 threes. So I'm going to force him to prove to me that he can make threes in my home. The other basket, as you mentioned on the drive, maybe no basket.
They wave it off.
Wow.
Wow, Doug Sermon saying it was on the fingertips. he gave us a detailed explanation there. He said it was within a couple inches of being good, but it was not. I'm surprised by that.
Both of us thought that it came out before the clock went off.
Gibson from the corner off the heel. So it's still a 12-11 game. There's no bucket from Brown that last time down. Cryer, little fade away. Thamba wrestles away the rebound. He's trying to get it away from Bros. It comes out to Flagler for a three.
Oklahoma has got to go find bodies.
And he carried it. Goldwire. That's going to be his 5th individual turnover of the game. He had a total of 5 turnovers the last 3 games. And this is already tied a season high for him in a game of 5 turnovers.
Well, he's got to be the guy that matches Akinjo, and not necessarily with his scoring, but with efficiency. And turning the ball over that many times, again, it's just another missed opportunity to at least get a shot up.
Cryer open from the corner. LJ Cryer, there's a lot of great shooters on this team. He may be
exception, and even Shokan, who's not playing, he's a very good shooter. Obviously Flagler.
Yeah, you mentioned Jeremy Sohan will not play today. He hopes to play, as does Scott Drew. Hope he's able to play on Tuesday against Kansas State back in Waco. Harkless from the left elbow. You know, that's a great start for Harkless. We're looking for more scoring from him. That's already 6 for Harkless.
Well, typically when he scores the ball, they play well, but with Groves, almost, I hate to say being out, but not producing, this makes it a very difficult. Well, Flagler getting it done at this end, sharing the ball. If you cheat on him, splash. And then they go in the other way. Harkless has been special early. 15-13, Bears.
Is back, and take a look at the draws. And I tell you what, Alabama Baylor will be a great game, but if you're OU, it's like, okay, great. This is the year we get to draw Auburn.
Yeah, it's kind of not fair.
Yeah.
Auburn had a big one today against
Kentucky.
A good Kentucky team, exactly.
So out of the timeout, it's a 2-point lead for Baylor. They led by as many as 10. They scored the game's first 10 points. Akinjo can't get the driving lay-in along the baseline.
Boy, he's out of rhythm. Akinjo is. Typically that basket is made by him. Looked like he had trouble getting a little lift around the basket.
Well, the Baylor team had an optional shoot-around at 8:15 this morning. Akinjo took him up on that. I bet he shot 200 shots earlier today at that shoot-around.
Well, he's got a heart as big as this building. No surprise that he would get that many shots up. And he leads the team in field goal attempts, so he's got to get himself back into a rhythm. So
yeah, that injury occurred, a bruised tailbone in the Texas Tech game. The numbers against Oklahoma State were not up to his standard, and the reason he was playing hurt. And at some point they said, hey, we got to get you out of the game. And he didn't play in the game at West Virginia the other night. Back in the lineup today. He gives some free throws. Tied at 15.
Well, Oklahoma has done a great job of turning this into a battle here after being down. A lot of times, Mark, it's about how you respond to getting punched in the mouth. That's what Baylor did. And Oklahoma has done a great job fighting themselves back into this game.
So a travel on Brown. That is the 4th Baylor turnover of this first half. So OU had 8 turnovers in their first 10 possessions. They have just 1 turnover in the last 8+ minutes.
Yeah, and with that situation, and you got it back tied up.
Goldwire kisses it in, and Oklahoma has their first lead of the game with 6.5 minutes to play in the first half.
I like that, using your personnel, especially against Cryer, who likes to score the ball. You want to make scorers have to defend as well, Mark.
Cryer off the left side, and skying for the rebound, Marvin Johnson, fifth-year seniors in the game for OU.
And Johnson can do just that. Did you see him go get that ball? True to form, Oklahoma back to giving it up.
The 10th turnover. Good defense by Jacob Groves.
Yeah, great closeout and movement of the feet.
Baylor just 1 for their last 10 from the field.
That's great defense there.
Flagler trying to get to the rim. Long outlet. Johnson coming the other way. Lays it in. Timeout, Baylor.
Saw it started on this end of the floor. Look at the foot movement. Groves runs him right into Mayween, and then look at the change. The ends of the floor. I thought that was a great no call. But how about the throw ahead by Harkless? That's what coaches talk about, throwing the head, Mark, because you can pass the ball much quicker than you can dribble it.
But everything, Lance, in that sequence stemmed from the great defense from Jacob Groves.
Yeah, Groves, and what he did is he funneled Flagler right into the help where Mayween was, and Mayween did a great job of just staying vertical. He didn't come out away from the basket, and that's the one area I think both Flagler and Cryer struggle a little bit to finish in that kind of traffic. Now, Akinju is really good at finishing high off the glass, but when you get that deep, especially when you got that much length around you, pretty hard to finish.
Trying to lob to Chachua, but a foul first. So there's an instance where Scott Drew's like, I didn't want that whistle.
Yeah.
But what a turnaround for OU, though. A 10-0 start for Baylor to begin the game with 8 quick OU turnovers. And here's OU now with a 4-point lead. They're on an 8-0 run.
Yeah, and both teams playing with a level of urgency and desperation that reflect their struggles of late here in the conference. And when I say struggles, of just getting a win.
Meyer, 3, just a hair long. It's a 17-3 OU run and over just about the last 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a play call, but I think Myers has been settling a little too much relative to what he can do.
Chachua got one of his big arms in the way and helps create that turnover. Somehow OU's committed 11 turnovers and they have a 4-point lead with 5 minutes to go in the half.
How do you do that?
Flagler weaves his way through traffic and lays it in with a kiss.
Wow, great finish by Flagler. Under calm.
An official timeout from Doug Sermons.
And a moment ago, you saw the turnover. Again, you talked about it. Cortez, you talked about Brown, but Cortez, being a young guy, he's got to understand that length and speed and size is much different than the level he came from. And he's as good a passer as you'll find, but he's going through those growing pains as a young guy now, learning what works and what doesn't work on a floor like this with one of the best defending teams, not only in the conference, but in the country.
See, Baylor's got off to a hot start, but shooting just 28% for the half. Johnson. Oh, what a spark off the bench Porter Moser has today from Marvin Johnson.
Wow, what a great job by Johnson. This only his 8th game.
Brown able to get it back on the other side after that shot attempt, but a travel committed by Flagler.
And might have gotten away with a travel by Brown because it looked like he shot that over the basket. But how about the little crossover finish against Meyer? Attacking those feet.
But Marvin Johnson did not play in any of the last 5 games. In fact, the last time he played prior to today, he played 1 minute of the conference opener January 1st against K-State. He has a total now of 20 points on the season. Thanks to the 5 he has today. He had 10 of those points against Texas San Antonio in non-conference play.
Yeah, he's ridiculously springy and athletic. Look how high he raised to get a lane to pass that ball.
Tanner Groves, tough angle, couldn't get it to fall, but did draw the contact.
I'm going to tell us to earmark this. This could be the beginning of something for getting Groves involved. Oklahoma rolling. I'm going to take a break.
That's about as concise a game summary as we can give you, and it's perfect because the first 10 possessions for OU were a disaster. Baylor scored the game's first 10 points. Since then, it's been almost all OU. Kind of an unusual game so far with 3:49 to play in the first half. Tanner Groves out of the timeout, going to the line, shooting 2 for OU. And this is the first. Kenjo is back today for Baylor. Jeremy Sohan is not, still dealing with the left ankle issue.
Wow.
Groves missed both. He's been a 74% foul shooter on the year coming in.
Yeah, that's just confidence. He desperately, he being Groves, Jacob Groves, he needs to see the ball go through the hoop desperately, Mark.
Kenjo has not scored in this game. He's 0 for 4 from the field. He tied a career high with 27 points in the first meeting this year against OU. Shot clock winding down, and Meyer in the right place to get a quick pass from Kendall Brown, and an important bucket for Baylor.
Oklahoma did everything absolutely great on that end of the floor, Mark, except finish with the rebound.
By the way, OU has a couple players out today. C.J. Nolan in concussion protocol after he took an elbow to the nose right at the end of the first half against KU the other night. And Ethan Chagua still out with a hip injury. Brown, the steal. 12 first half turnovers for OU. They get it right back. Look at the hustle from number 5, Marvin Johnson. He has been a spark off the bench.
Look at Groves. Groves has the head down as he goes out. Coach Mosier's really getting after him. Groves is just really struggling to get into this game.
Goldwire lost the handle and loses it out of bounds. 13 first half turnovers, which basically in their 10 home games coming in, OU had averaged about 13 turnovers a game. They've already turned it over 13 times today.
You said this game was a little unique. I mean, 28 shots to 15 shots for Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's winning.
Sprinting along the baseline, Brown finds Matthew Meyer.
Make it 29. It's just unbelievable to me that a team can get double the number of shots and be tied up. And there's another
crazy.
Turnover. It is crazy.
14th turnover. Wow.
Well, that's just a great pass and cut. Anytime Brown gets going downhill, typically something good happens. I hate to keep saying it, Mark, but I would space that young man and force him to show me he can make shots.
Wow, tough shot, the reverse, and the bucket for L.J. Cryer, and it gives Baylor back the lead with under 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, you got to have a little more rim protection, but guards are just so good for Baylor, especially when there's no big around the basket.
6-0 run for the Bears. Cryer has 8 points. Goldwire had it punched from behind and was in danger of losing it, but a foul on Baylor.
It was almost 7 turnovers.
Yeah, if you just look at the stats of this game and not the scoreboard, you're going to get a completely mistaken viewpoint of what's taking place here.
Yeah, exactly. The numbers don't always match up, but over time, is this sustainable if you're Oklahoma?
A lot of dribbling from Harkless. He misses from the right elbow. Akinjo looking for his first points. 0 for 4 from the field, 2 of those 3-point shots. Meyer creates a little space, a second opportunity. No, Thamba had it knocked away. Harkless comes out with it.
Very fortunate there to get a no call.
Goldwire open 3, very long. Tanner Groves may wean back out. Harkless launches a 3.
Boy, how about Mayween? Great decision there not to force anything. I really like this young man. A lot of times bigs aren't great decision makers. Mayween just does everything right. Not a lot of this shows up in the box score, but it certainly can help you win ball games.
Akinjo stopped there, had to pick up the dribble, but he finds Thamba, who's bumped and fouled by Mayween, and a chance for a 3-point play for Flo Thamba.
I know I've been harping on the positive for Mayween. That's not necessarily his fault. He was helping up top. He's got to get some assistance in the back, especially, or behind him, especially when a guy is as big as Thamba. In the middle of the floor, he's helping on Akinjo. Where's the help? No Groves. Gibson, no Gibson. He's looking for the big. Baylor does a good job of finding Thamba with the hit and the finish.
Thamba 2 of 3 from the field today. In that first meeting with Oklahoma, he was a perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw line, but misses there.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Groves to see if if he gets back into this game or into this game at all.
Well, you can hold it for the final shot, but a 3 off Tanner Groves. And now Baylor with 7 seconds left will get a chance for the final shot. Did OU shoot that too quickly?
Yeah, well, I thought with Groves coming on the court, maybe they were going to look for some action that would involve him. But certainly there, your question really is the answer, in that you probably wanted to run a little more clock before you got that shot.
So Baylor on an 8-0 run here, going to try to add to that in the final seconds of the half. A screen at midcourt.
Oh, he's going to take this.
Floats it up. No good. So a scoreless first half for Akinjo. 0 for 5 coming back from injury. But Baylor does finish the half on an 8-0 run over the last 3.5 minutes. And they lead it by 4 at the break. What a, I don't know, bizarre first half in many ways. We'll take a break, come back with more from Norman. 25-21, Baylor at the intermission. Second half in Norman, number 5 Baylor leading it by 4. Baylor scored the game's first 10 points. OU turned it over 8 times on their first 10 possessions. They had 14 turnovers in the first half, which led to 19 points off turnover for Baylor, Lance.
Well, it was some ugly basketball, and they literally couldn't get a shot off, and Baylor just made it worse. Of being pretty effective and efficient on the other end of the floor. This young man here, Goldwire, he had a very difficult time in the first half with his 6 turnovers. Baylor was exceptional at finding people, but then they got the bug. And as we talked about, Oklahoma turned it up and started defending and using that defense to create some offense on that particular shot. The roof came off this place. But how about Groves running the defense right into Mayween, and they did a good job, Mark, of turning big-time defense into early offense.
Yeah, take a look at the game of runs. As I mentioned, Baylor scored the game's first 10 points, and OU didn't score at all with 8 turnovers in their first 10 possessions. Baylor closed it out with an 8-0 run in the first half, but in between, you had OU outscoring Baylor 21-7 over a 10-minute period. And in many ways, if you're Oklahoma, you commit 14 turnovers. Even though they did have a lead for portions of the first half, it's probably pretty fortunate to only be down 4 points.
Yeah, you dodged a bullet. If you're only down 4 with that many turnovers, it's something obviously we'll monitor in this half. But you also mentioned closing out that first half. That's something that Coach Mosier talked about today in the shoot-around. He needs guys that can close out halves too. Most of these games are close in the Big 12, so that'll be a key element going down the stretch here today, Mark.
So first possession of the second half for Baylor. Akinjo a scoreless first half. A deep 3 out front. Flagler swish.
talk about shooters. This guy here is as good as any on this ball club. They have several of them. Flagler's one of the primary. You have to stay with him and or pre-rotate, particularly on the perimeter.
It was Flagler's first made three of the game. Baylor was 2 of 14 from beyond the arc in the first half. And no points for OU on their first possession of the half. They went 1 for 7 in three-point shooting in the first half. Brown driving on Gibson underneath Thamba. And Flo is fouled. He'll shoot 2.
Well, that's one of the reasons that people love Brown so much. He doesn't chase baskets. He does a great job creating scoring opportunities, not only for himself, but for his teammates. There he had a much smaller Gibson on him. Really nothing you can do to close off passing lanes or stop him from creating offense, Mark.
Thamba knocks down the first free throw. There were not a lot of free throws in the first half. Baylor was 1 of 2. OU was 2 of 4.
What I want to know is, how does Oklahoma get Groves into the game? Jacob Groves, leading scorer, having a game that's reminiscent to his Texas game where he didn't score at all, similarly with no attempts.
Yeah, he had no shot attempts, as you mentioned, in the first half. His only shooting, so to speak, was from the free throw line, and he missed both free throws in his 12 minutes. Got a couple of rebounds. And that was really the only thing on his scoring line, was the 2 rebounds in the first half.
Yeah, and then we're talking about a guy that averages just under 13 points. So you're not seeing those, and you're still in this game is huge.
They were trying to get it to Tanner Groves, but great Baylor defense creates another steal.
Well, helped by Harkless. That was a terrible angle on that pass. You got to throw that high.
Matthew Meyer knocks down from long range, and now Oklahoma needs a quick timeout here early in the second half.
They're starting the second half very similarly to the way they started the first half. I don't know how they come out of this hole, Mark. They got to figure it out.
Well, Baylor ended the first half on an 8-0 run. They've scored the first 8 points of the second half, so it's a 16-0 run dating back to the first half. Here's how they got those last points.
Well, Meyer played that passing lane, but that pass was a little low. Should have been over the top, especially Groves. That isn't his fault, but he turned the offense into defense, and then also, the defense into offense, and then made Harkless pay twice there with the dot in the eye for losing him on the floor. But Mark, that pass, you got to throw a hook pass up high because Groves is much taller. Speaking of Groves, as he goes to the bench.
Meyer, by the way, leading Baylor in scoring with 9 points. Harkless leads OU with 6. Right now, OU trying to find answers again. Porter Moser told us earlier today their worst game was the loss to Texas, lost by 14. Said we can't play much worse than that. Well, they started the first half today pretty badly, and second half, but Mayween able to get him on the board here in the second half.
Well, he's been one of the quiet stars for this team thus far today, just showing up big.
But Kendall Brown. That's 5 rebounds, 3 assists.
That's why people love him so much. At the next level, he can pretty much do everything on the floor. Doesn't present this way, but he's really so strong. Just a wiry, strong kid put together. He'll even get bigger and stronger. That size, he has such an advantage with the way he moves versus these smaller guards and forwards for Oklahoma.
Brown to the bench with 6 points. And a 13-point lead, and another dangerous pass is stolen by Akinjo.
Yeah, that was telegraphed, and Akinjo, he saw that coming a mile away.
16th Oklahoma turnover, their second of the second half. Cryer driving high off the glass, but off the left side. Harkless on the run the other way, takes it coast to coast and gets it to roll in.
Well, that's similar to the way that Oklahoma got in the game in the first half, Mark. In fact, it started with Harkless with an aggressive play in a half-court situation. But if they want to get back into this offensively, they're going to have to amp up the level of aggression. Not be so passive on the offensive end of the floor.
Thamba, nice move towards the baseline. Couldn't finish the jump hook. The deflection gets the rebound right back to Flo Thamba.
Yeah, that's because Mayween got caught looking.
Line pass by Akinjo, and Mayween got a paw on that. Out of bounds, staying with Baylor, though.
Yeah, sometime, Mark, you just got to take it upon yourself here. No one stops the ball. In fact, Flagler's kind of jogging back. Harkless takes it all the way to the basket. I like that. That creates activity, action, and opportunity.
Harkless 8 points to lead Oklahoma in his 19 minutes. Brown right back in the game for Baylor. He gets in the lane, slips a little bit, but kept his pivot foot. Left a shot short, and Jalen Hill comes away with the rebound. There's Marvin Johnson, number 5. He was a spark plug off the bench in the first half. He's going to shoot a 3. Brown rebound.
No defense at all there.
Flagler now with 7.
Biggs doing a great job of screening the defense off, allowing Flagler, literally, he could have walked in and shot that layup.
Back to a 13-point lead, equaling Baylor's largest of the game. The pass a little behind Hill, and he couldn't handle it. The turnovers continue to mount up for Oklahoma. That's 17, trying to lob for Brown. Johnson wanted to Euro step, it looked like, but instead Flagler held his ground, and it's an offensive foul.
Right now, Oklahoma has to figure out how to beat Oklahoma because a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Baylor in control here early in the second half. Each half, Mark, I mean, you take, as you pointed out, the first 5 minutes of each half, 23-4. I mean, I don't know how you continue to climb out of a hole that big starting off each half.
18 turnovers for Oklahoma. Their season high is 20, which has happened twice. The last time was against TCU. So odds are they're going to set a season high unless they really buckle down from this point forward.
I mean, Hill hasn't scored. Groves hasn't scored.
Chalmwa Chachua, his second field goal.
I mean, you're talking about 22 points there that are missing. I mean, I don't, and you couple that with the turnovers. I mean, it's a miracle that they aren't down more.
They're down 15, largest deficit, and from behind they're going to count that. That is basket interference.
You know, if I'm Baylor, it's almost worth it for that goaltending, and the reason is, Mark, Groves still doesn't get to see the ball go through the basket.
He has a field goal, but you're right. He has not actually seen the ball go through the rim, through the net.
Yeah, that's right. There is a mental thing to that, man. Good closeout by Goldwire. That's a travel.
Looking at each other, yes, travelers. Doug Sermons looked to Darren George. They said travel. Here is
great ball movement, and then see this block. Was it? Yeah, it was a goaltending. He hit the backboard end or the rim, which you can't do, but nevertheless, we'll see if mission was accomplished as it relates to Groves.
He has an open 3 to shoot. There it is. Maybe that's the shot that gets Tanner Groves back to being Tanner Groves.
That's exactly right. And closes it to 10, and maybe a little response from the crowd. That's a big basket and a much needed one, not only for the team, but for Groves himself.
And a foul going to the rim.
Everyday John there down below free throw line. Not a bad way to defend him with the way that he's been struggling, Groves, and or even hesitating from that distance.
Little 5-0 run here for Tanner Groves.
Well, the question is, does Oklahoma go back to that option with the high ball screen?
Porter Moser's been trying to clean up the ugly first 5 minutes of each half for his team today. Back to a 12-point game.
Yeah, and Baylor's doing a good job of coming out with this 1-2-2 pressure.
Harkless. We might have gotten bailed out there.
Yeah, and what the pressure is doing is it's forcing Oklahoma to play a little slower than they might normally play. We saw earlier where, Mark, they were getting the ball up much quicker into the front court.
By the way, that was the third foul on Matthew Meyer. He's the first Baylor player to 3. Emoji Gibson is the lone OU player with 3 fouls.
Well, they had a mismatch there with Akinjo down low trying to get it to Groves. Groves is officially back into this game.
Hey, make sure you check out the ESPN Plus docuseries Our Time Baylor Basketball and follow the Bears women's and men's basketball teams for a season-long quest for national titles. New episodes drop on Thursday exclusively here on ESPN Plus. Groves, 14-footer, left it short. And it's tied up. Hill and Thamba. Possession arrow keeping it with Oklahoma.
Well, in spite, I talked about Hill not scoring, but in spite of that, he's been incredibly active, particularly here in this possession around the basket. Using his size, he can match Brown in the wings size and or forwards for Baylor around the basket.
Goldwire kicks. Harkless pulls up. A Thamba rebound. His 9th rebound today.
Yeah. They're just hanging around. Oklahoma doing a good job in spite of all the turnovers and the misfortune that they've had. They're playing it as best they can and just hanging around, Mark.
Shot clock gets down to 10. Brown in the lane underneath. Thamba lost the handle.
Great hands by Gibson.
Punched out from behind. They're going to look at one another. This should stay with Oklahoma.
Yeah, fortunate goal wire.
Oklahoma has a rebounding edge 24-20 for Baylor. Of their 20 rebounds, Thamba has 9 and Brown has 6. So they've done the vast majority of the rebounding for Baylor today. Groves get past Meyer. Hill driving on Thamba. Kick to the corner. A 3 from Gibson. Battle for the rebound as Groves was trying to grab it with one hand. Here's a lob for Brown. Broken up, but it goes right to Flagler, who lays it in.
Well, that's just lucky. Oklahoma was in the right position there. Denied the pass, and they were just unable to corral it. Flagler just being in the right place at the right time.
Goldwire. Gibson had it knocked out. Did he? No, he just lost the handle on it. And it's back to Baylor. Timeout.
Well, Baylor just won't go away. Here it is. Sometimes you just got to be lucky. A perfect case of that. Baylor up 14 almost midway through the second half.
2022 Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. You can get your tickets by visiting T-MobileCenter.com. We hope to see you March 9th through the 12th at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Of course, 10 teams in the Big 12. 1, Oklahoma State, ineligible for the NCAA tournament this year. But right now, Joe Lunardi has 8 of the 9 eligible teams in the tournament, with the 9th, Kansas State, right now one of the next 4 out. That's how extremely talented top to bottom the Big 12 is.
Yeah, and I think things will be different as conference play progresses for Kansas State. They are a very good team. Went in and popped Texas on their floor, and they've been in a lot of games late. Lost to TCU at home. They were up 4 or 5 in the last minute.
Well, coming into today, only one team with 1 loss in the conference. That's Kansas in conference play. And everybody had at least 2 conference wins going into today. There's an offensive
right now on Kansas, in-state rival.
Yeah, Texas Tech already beat West Virginia today in Lubbock. Texas got by Oklahoma State in Austin. And as you mentioned, last check, K-State's up almost double digits on KU in Manhattan. Flagler getting the feed from Cryer. Tanner Groves rebounds, run out by Goldwire. Gibson. And Meyer may have just committed his 4th foul. That looks to be the case. That is number 4 on Matthew Meyer.
Well, the more pace Oklahoma can play with here in this second half, Mark, better off they will be with opportunities to get back in the game. But if you're going to play with pace, you've also got to take care of the ball. It doesn't matter if you're going up and down and you're not getting opportunities.
So you saw Meyer come out with 4 personals with 11.5 minutes to go. Harkless puts up the 3. Kendall Brown, strong rebounder today. That's his 7th.
Well, and that's a 7-footer. He's down there with close enough to it in Groves. He comes up with the rebound. That's why people are in love with him in terms of what he can do on the basketball floor.
Samba fakes, gets back. Flagler 3. We're going to have a whistle away from the ball and a foul on Oklahoma.
It was on Groves. He checked Thamba pretty hard there. I don't know that it was frustration.
That's the first foul today on Tanner Groves. Oh boy, yeah, no doubt.
He checked him pretty good.
Kenjo scoreless today. 0 of 5 from the field, and a pass in the direction of Bonner flies out of bounds.
Yeah, and Flagler thought Bonner was going to stay. He cut. A little miscommunication there.
Goldwire trying to get past Bonner. He finds Tanner Groves for the easy lay-in.
The force he went to the basket with forced the defense to shift. Excellent job by Goldwire of how aggressive he went and was able to find Groves for the easy finish.
Bonner throws it right to Goldwire. Jalen Hill, the stuff, and OU trying to get right back in the game.
Well, the pressure on Bonner, he didn't even look. Didn't like the pressure and just threw it away. This is how Oklahoma got in the game in the first half, giving Baylor a little bit of their own medicine. They put Brown at the point guard and allow him to bring it up, taking the pressure off of the guards.
Baylor's led by as many as 15. Now it's at 10. Shot clock slips under 5. Blind pass to Kenjo. And a foul on Oklahoma as Thamba was about ready to lay it in.
Well, how about the pass there? It's almost right to him. And Hill gets up court for the finish.
First basket of the game for Jalen Hill, who averages 10 points, 6 rebounds per game. He's been their leading rebounder this year, and he does have 6 rebounds today to hit his average.
Yeah, that's the 22 points that I talked about between Groves and Hill that they were missing. Maybe, perhaps, this gets him going as well. Hill. He's been hovering around that 10-point mark in terms of deficit for Oklahoma here in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Baylor led by 4 at the break, but coming out of the second half quickly built that to double digits, and they have led by double digits nearly the last 10 minutes of the game. Oklahoma hasn't been able to get it down to single digits. Can they do that here? Moja Gibson, step back, shoots, got it. He had a similar shot in the game against Kansas.
Well, he created that because he had a big on him, and Everyday John up top. Excellent step back off the dribble.
OU does get it down to single digits. They're down 8. Pryor underneath. Brown in a crowd shooting over Tanner Groves. But Hill will rebound, his 7th of the game. Brown right up on Goldwire.
Mismatch with Groves and Akinjo down low. They got to try to take advantage of that.
Gibson has to become an acrobat to save it. Cortez fires to the corner. Hill shoots over Chachua, and it's short. Well, but you're right, they didn't get the matchup that they wanted there.
No, they couldn't get it to Groves. He had a huge mismatch down on the block.
Well, the Akinjo, here's Flagler. Goldwire thought he had all ball, but he is whistled for the foul.
Well, and Goldwire didn't have a feel for where he was on the floor. Flagler had no angle to the basket. Didn't necessarily have to create that foul, but they got it to single digit. Ooh, that's sweet. That's sweet, Mark. Oklahoma down 8.
Got a 7-1 run going for Oklahoma here. The only point for Baylor in that span was a Thamba free throw. What's gotten OU back down to single digits here?
I think it's the defense, certainly, but the aggressiveness on the offensive end, to me, Mark, is what's been the difference. We saw, obviously, the beautiful step back by Gibson. Hill got the dunk. And I think what drives that is those horrific leads that Baylor has gotten, quite frankly, and they respond with this, but they have to do it in the context of being a lot closer. Like now, to walk Baylor down score-wise, you can't wait till you're down 14 to all of a sudden get a spark.
OU has tied a season high with 20 turnovers, but they've not turned it over at all in the last 4 minutes, which has helped them get it back down to single digits. Coming out of the timeout, Flagler is at the line shooting 2 for the Bears.
I think some of that run is a function of the big deficit, as well as understanding that you're starting to run out of time. That's going to be the issue. So you've got to continue to push the envelope on the offensive end and create a little bit of space, because you need scoring opportunities.
First free throws of the game for Flagler. 78% foul shooter coming in, and he misses both. And it stays an 8-point lead for Baylor. Great to have you with us, along with former NBA player and general manager Lance Blanks. I'm Mark Dealey. Cortez cut off, finds Gibson, and open Groves at 3. Don't allow Tanner Groves to get hot, Baylor. Well, it can be a different game.
He's clearly back. He just took a little mini break. They need him in order to win this game.
All 10 of his points have come in this second half. He has scored 8 of OU's last 15 points, and now he helps generate a steal. Harkless trying to get to the rim, and a foul, and here's OU just down 5 going.
And creates the contact, forces the call. Great job by just great ball movement, not only by Cortez, but Gibson knowing where the big fella is. He's got to be, meaning Groves has got to be their offensive anchor. He can get
Tanner Groves. We saw him earlier pass up an open 3.
Yep.
I watched the Kansas game. He did the same thing. He passed up some open 3s in that game.
Yeah, and I mentioned it. I think it started against the University of Texas because he didn't get a lot of shots that game. And this conference defense is so difficult, but then it just leaked into the other games all the way into today. But this is his best stretch, Mark, in the last 3 games.
The Sooner crowd back into it. It's a 1-possession game in Norman.
Cortez doing a great job. He's the one, Cortez, who created that turnover. Talked about him defending smarter. He's doing that this half.
Akinjo looking for his first basket of the game and gets it to quiet the crowd.
Well, it looks
but,
like...
he's hurt. Remember, he had a bruised tailbone. And that doesn't look good.
No, as he slams the floor.
And he immediately reached back. It could very well be the same spot that the initial injury that he's coming back, just came back from today. Yeah, he immediately reached back towards that tailbone area. He gets help to his feet and walks slowly to the Baylor bench. He just got his first made bucket of the game and comes down hard on that backside again and has to go to the bench.
Well, he's such an emotional kid. As I mentioned, has a huge heart. You just hope it's not a lingering issue.
They're going to put that wrap around his lower back that he was wearing on the bench at West Virginia the other night. He's wearing that standing up just beyond the Baylor bench now. Here's Baylor in his zone. Goldwire, bounce pass down low. Groves is hurt. He's slow getting up. Meyer, who collided with him, going the other way. And Groves is complaining he got hit in the side of the face, and he's just been teed up.
Yeah, he's upset because Meyer, who jumped, hit him in the face when he fell.
Wow.
But this can have a positive effect on the team. You've got the crowd fully engaged.
Goldwire ran into the chest.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he got hit pretty hard. You saw his head jar. That was just an emotional reaction. He continues to hold the right side of his face.
Cryer knocks down the free throws. He was complaining to official Darren George. And then Darren George turned towards the scorer's table and teed him up.
Yeah, it could turn into a 4-point swing, and then the foul was committed intentionally because it was a 4-on-5 situation.
Obviously, you can hear the crowd is riled up, and just when Tanner Groves was becoming a major factor in this game, suddenly he's teed up. And now Porter Moser was saying something to Byron Jarrett.
Well, he's got him
to
look
review.
at. Yeah, he wants him to review the hit.
Now, even if somehow they look at this and discover a flagrant foul, this isn't going to change the technical.
Oh, boy, that was a violent crash.
That very well may be at least a flagrant one.
Yeah, okay, but do you... I don't know that you can undo.
You can't undo the technical. No, that's done.
Undo the technical.
That's not going to change.
Kroll.
He got kneed to the face. That was the best angle. The right knee of Meyer came up and hit Tanner Groves. Now, the fact that that was not intentional doesn't matter.
No,
it can still be a flagrant one or even a flagrant two, which would bring an ejection from the game. But I think this definitely warrants at least a flagrant one.
I agree with that. That's a miss probably because of the angle and all the bodies.
I don't think a flagrant two is the right call, but a flagrant one certainly seemed like a strong possibility.
Doesn't look like.
No.
Look like it could be, but it doesn't look like they're going to get that call.
Now Doug Sermons is explaining he did bring the knee up, so he saw the same look that we did.
But you can use this to crush you, or you can use this to motivate you.
Yeah, that's a knee directly to the side of the head.
Well, the question is, how do you respond to it?
Yeah, that's it. You still got 6:09 to get yourself back in the game.
That knee cost 4 points. And you were within striking distance. Now it's almost back to 10.
It's a 9-point game, 51-42. How does OU react now?
Well, you've got fans on their feet waiting to get into this game.
If they can get a basket right here, OU, they'll have the crowd right back in this game.
And Baylor continues to play the zone.
Harkless trying to back down Flagler. Harkless driving on Thamba. Apparently did hit the rim. They reset the shot clock. It's back out for Goldwire. Harkless, Euro step. Gibson came to meet the ball, and a little floater falls in, and a big bucket there for OU.
Yeah, great job of staying focused and not coming unglued. With the unfortunate situation with the knee to Groves.
7 of Baylor's last 11 points have come from the line. There, he steps on the baseline, and Baylor, they turn it over.
But if you score here, you've got a chance to pick up right where you left off. With 5+ minutes left in the game, so essentially you almost don't lose anything except you gain a crowd that is fully engaged in the game, Mark.
A coach's box warning from Scott Drew was issued there, according to Doug Sermons, who gave us a quick flyby to let us know what that was about. Lob, Hill came down with it instead of Brown, but it goes out of bounds to Baylor.
Yeah, it looked like the right call. Hill did a great job of catching that, but lost what looked like his balance after he made the great play for a pass that you thought might have been a turnover. Rose back in the game and then fully engaged.
Meyer trying to do a little spin. Harkless stays right with him. Turns, shoots a 3. Oh, what a huge shot from Matthew Meyer.
What you saw there, Mark, is one of the reasons they've won so many games. As you mentioned over the years, they have shot makers, and that's absolutely what there was.
Brown a steal, and then Goldwire fouls him.
Well, you've just got to create offense at times, and your offense has to be better than the defense. The defense was absolutely exceptional with that possession. And Meyer just used that length. Watch here, the donut, little space. The one thing that Harkless did do, he got a little too high there. Nevertheless, Meyer made a great shot.
12 points for Meyer. He and Cryer lead Baylor with a dozen. That was the 10th team foul against Oklahoma, so Baylor is in the double bonus from this point forward, and it's 2 shots from the line for Kendall Brown. He was 4 of 4 from the stripe today.
You know, we talked about Baylor and all the success they've had. They're having to do it again without Akinjo, being on the bench with the injury that he recently suffered driving down the lane, as well as Jeremy Solheim.
Yeah.
These are things that can build your confidence, Mark, as you go on into conference, meaning you can win without those guys. And that just helps you get your confidence back. Something that's been a little bit tenuous I think with Baylor here of late, because of losing 2 out of 3.
Oklahoma had gotten it down to a 2-possession game before that flurry with Tanner Groves and Meyer and the technical call. Now it's back suddenly up to a 12-point game. Just over 4 minutes to go.
They're being disciplined about staying in that zone.
Rims out for Tanner Groves. I'll tell you what, Tanner Groves looks like he's playing mad right now.
Yeah, he wants it all in 1 or 2 shots. I mean, you can't blame him considering the blow to the face with the knee. Inadvertent, but certainly something that would frustrate or upset most players.
Flagler. It falls. And with 3.5 minutes, 14-point lower lead for Baylor. Their largest has been 15, so they're right on the cusp of that again. And a travel committed by Cortez. That is a season high for turnovers, 23 for OU. 58-44, Baylor with 3:21 to go. Matchup again next week in Kansas right now, getting a huge battle in Manhattan, Kansas, down 16 to the Wildcats. Take a look at the Big 12 standings. Right now, Baylor trying to pick up their 5th conference win. OU trying to avoid their 5th conference loss. 3:21 to play, though, and it's a 14-point game. Doug Sermons, the lead official, came over during that timeout, gave me a very lengthy explanation on to what they saw and why there was no flagrant call. He was saying Matthew Meyer was looking for a place to land when he brought his knee up. They did not see, the official said they did not see excessive contact on the video.
I saw your face.
And OU was charged a timeout, and it's kind of convoluted, but because Porter asked them to go look, there's some consequences. If they don't find a flagrant foul, you lose a timeout, which is what happened to Oklahoma. They lost the timeout in that as well to kind of add insult to injury of all that.
Yeah, that play cost Oklahoma a lot.
That was a shot clock violation that did not hit the rim.
Yeah, it cost them a lot. Not only.
Well, they were in a 2-possession game. It was anybody's game at that point, and it's been totally different since that point.
Correct, and momentum. That's the a lot to me is not only obviously the points, because they gave up the 2 free throws, the 4 free throws because 2 were technical, and then the intentional foul that Harkless had committed, and then the momentum.
It's a 13-2 run, but just since the technical, it's an 11-2 run. Now make it 11-4 with the Harkless basket. You get it down to a dozen. With 2.5 minutes to go.
But something that shouldn't go unnoticed, Baylor's done a great job of filling in with Noah Kenjo. Flagler is not a full-time point guard. Neither is Cryer, and he's done a great job of managing things without Kenjo being on the floor.
Flagler, deep 3, good. And that might be the final nail in the coffin with 2 minutes to go. Let's button up that whole technical situation. I'll say that Doug Sermons is an outstanding referee. He's a guy who goes to Final Fours, one of the best out there. I would disagree. I think there was excessive contact to make it a flagrant 1. Not a flagrant 2. There was not anything to throw Matthew Meyer out. But I thought the knee to the head was excessive contact.
Yeah, and he explained it well. I heard excessive or unnecessary.
Unnecessary
is the term that's used. I don't disagree with you. That's why I say it's subjective. And
it is.
You know, they're human beings, referees, and they have a perspective and an opinion.
And his point was that Meyer had a right to land, and he thought that he brought his knee up to avoid just landing right on top of.
Yeah, it looked
Tanner
like
Groves.
the knee came up to me when he was going up, not necessarily when he was coming down as well. See, he's going up. That's when the knee hits, not when he's coming down. So I, too, saw that a little differently. He does have a right to land, but he was going up. And also, if he switched his position and said it was excessive, and that's why I called it, you would agree with it. And so it's his opinion based on how he interprets the rule in that situation.
Let me take that whole sequence. Should there just have been a foul on Matthew Meyer on that contact on Tanner Groves? Gibson. All right, OU gets it down to 13, but there's 73 seconds left, and Oklahoma is going to use their final timeout. Well, Oklahoma a couple weeks ago was on the cusp of the top 25. But they have lost 3 in a row and 4 or 5 coming in, so they are not ranked. If you look what Baylor has done against unranked teams in the last couple of seasons, coming into this game 31-1. Only Gonzaga has a higher winning percentage.
Can we get into this? Because this Baylor team, as I understand, there's been a little bit of scrutiny around the 2 losses in a row. I mean, going all the way back to the 18-19 season, 20-14, 26-4, 28-2, 16-2, and they lose 2 games in a row, and the question's asked,
what's wrong with Baylor?
Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, some people don't have a career at a school or a program with that kind of production. And so Baylor, to me, is one of the gold standard programs right now.
No doubt. They're the defending national title.
Yeah, and not only because of what they're doing this year, not only because of what they did last year, to your point, defending champs, but what they've done over the last 4 or 5 years in sustaining that. And everyone knows, it's not a secret, they built this program. That man there, along with his loyal assistant, has built that program. Coach Tang, Brooks, etc. They've done a great job of building this program from the bottom up.
That's Coach Tank there, right there to the left from our viewpoint of Scott Drew, who's been there all 19 seasons with Scott Drew in Waco.
Yeah, and I talked to Coach Tang yesterday. He told me he's even taken up cooking, believe it or not. Said he
multi-talented.
Yeah, he's multi-talented and loves it in Waco. And
yeah, I didn't know, and you mentioned this, that his family is originally from Trinidad.
Trinidad, yeah, they're from Trinidad. If you really listen to him, you can hear a little bit of an accent. And then next to him, Coach Brooks, Coach Alvin Brooks III, his dad is the head coach at Lamar, but he's their development coach.
That's Alvin there on the left there.
Yeah.
The far left, there he is.
Yeah,
there on the right there, and the beard is John Jacobs, who came over from Gonzaga. And there's a look at Bill Peterson, who's a special assistant to head coach Scott Drew.
Coach Peterson spent a lot of time around the NBA world and high-level players, so his staff is just quite impressive that Coach Drew is built here at Baylor.
All right, a minute to go. 15-point game. And Baylor almost turns it over. Meyer brings it across to Brown. So Baylor's going to improve to 17-2 overall, 5-2 in conference. OU will lose their 4th straight, 5 of their last 6. They play in Morgantown against West Virginia on Wednesday night. Skine for the 3, short from Flagler. Going to remain with Baylor with 29 seconds left.
Yeah, and this is a huge win, again, because of the Akanju injury. Getting that feeling of knowing you can still win. There are ways and things you can do. You don't have your point guard. And to me, one of the X factors for Baylor, Mark, is Brown, because you can move him out on the perimeter and allow him to run and insert the offense because he can handle the ball. When Jeremy Sohan gets back, if he gets back before Akinjo, you can also use him to initiate offense and handle the ball as well.
Brown, that is an offensive foul as Jacob Groves took the charge. Alston Mason is checked in, number 3 for OU, his first game since the conference opener January 1st against K-State. Well, no question, the sequence with Tanner Groves, the technical. OU was in a two-possession game, but from that point forward, it's a totally different ballgame.
Oh, yeah. They turned up the intensity and the focus. And most will go back to the infamous knee moment in this game. Mark, seems like we've had, every time we come and do a game, we have a moment, a big moment that shifts the trajectory of the game.
Well, Baylor, 35 points off turnovers, off the 25, season high 25 from OU. That's the most points off turnover in a Big 12 game in 12 years.
Well,
and that was by Mizzou, not even in the conference anymore.
There's no question that during film sessions, turnovers will be talked about and looked at for Oklahoma.
14-point win for Scott Drew's team as Baylor improves to 17-2, 5-2 in conference. Always fun. Thanks, partner.
Enjoyed it. There are no days off in the Big 12. Tough conference.
A lot of excitement, a lot of emotion inside the Lloyd Noble Center on this Saturday. For Lance Blanks and our entire outstanding crew, I'm Mark Neely. Thanks for sharing this one with us. Baylor wins at 65-51 over OU. We say so long from Norman.